Right, the roof. Now, as you can see down in the far corner, the little shop's finished. It looks pretty good as well, but we're going to concentrate now on the roof. Now, when I put the roof on, I tiled it and I just stuck the slates on, and I said I ain't going to do no fancy on it because it's not worth it. Now, I had a little issue as I kept picking it up. I kept on breaking these tiles, and as you can see all the way along this edge, they're all broken off because every time I moved it, they're very, very delicate. So it was something I thought was that I've got to go back to and sort out. So what I'm going to do is, well, I already started, I've removed this top section completely. Yeah, I'm going to put a new section in, but if I bring the camera around a little bit more this way, hope you can see, sorry about that. Right. Now here we have that I sort of made out that this was the old part and this was the new part. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to split this roof into two. Now I can sort of do it. I'm going to carry the wall up just by about 2 courses and make the gable end taper up as a gable end, and then put a capping on it so I can actually tile up to that little bit of wall, and I can run some little bit of lead flashing down, which would look pretty cool. And do the same on this side, is to be able to tile through. And also I'm going to lift this gable end as well, which you can't see. I'm going to bring you back again. And I'm going to lift this gable end up the same as this one, so I can tile between the two little walls and run some flashing up, and both. It's more to give a little bit of interest to the diorama, because in real life you'd be stood down here, down the bottom there, and if you looked up, all you'd see would be the roof line, the gutter line. But as this diorama is going to be viewed from all angles, I want to see a little bit more interest up on the roof. And to be really fair, that's what you would see anyway. So just by tiling it straight through, well, it depends on the building, it depends where it is. There's a lot of variables in it. So if I tiled it all the way through, it wouldn't be wrong. If I put the little walls in, it won't be wrong, because it just depends on the situation when it's being built, and the architect, and how much he wants to put his stamp on it. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to build a small wall here with a coping on, and I'm going to raise this gable end, which is very, very easy with this stuff. It's not going to take long at all. He says that, and 3 days later he's still on it. Yeah, I'm going to raise this end as well, put a piece of board in between the two, and on that one I'm going to use some very thin balsa wood, and to make a slight overhang so the tiles are stuck right up to the edge. That means that if they are caught, they're not going to break off, but if they do crack, they're not going to fall off or anything like that. So they're going to be fully glued on all the way through. And then I'm going to tile it back. I've already made a load of new tiles, so I will be binning these. Well, I don't know, I'll probably put this in onto one side scrap box. You never know, might come in useful for something or other. I don't know what, but it might do. So that's my little plan with the roof. So what I should do now, I shall get started, and I'll just do clips and I'll show you what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. Right, what I've made now is a small wall section using the pillars. As you can see, I've made it 9-inch. Now that's going to be inserted just about there, like so. Now that's going to make my little wall. Well, actually, it's going to make the end of a gable, because this bit that runs down here would have been the end of the gable. And then I can run a soldier course that way, and a soldier course from the front edge, as so, up and over, and that then will give me my divide between the old section and the new section. And I'll do exactly the same at the far end, but I'll go into that in a minute. So that's what I've done so far. I'm going to glue this in and get it in place. Also, I'm just going to fit a couple of little bricks in there just to finish that off, and I shall glue this soldier course on all the way over. Yeah. So we'll be putting that on just to finish it off, and I shall tidy that end up, and then we'll get a piece of foam board in there, and we'll carry on with the next one. Okay, we're done the far end now. As you can see, I've cut the brickwork off. That was the piece that came out. Excuse my big fingers. That's the piece that came out. So what I've done, I've cut that back level. It's ever so easy to do, just with one of those little Tamiya saws. No problems at all. That's the great thing I love about these bricks. Now, the plan is, now I'm going to stick some new ones on, so I can get an extra bit of height at the end of the gable, the same as I've done on this far one, and then I can do exactly the same on this end gable one. Is the brick on edge over the top, which is going to give it just a nice little bit of difference, or interest, should I say. So what I'm going to do now is I'll get these glued on, and because these are going to be doubled up as a 9-inch wall, there will be pieces on the back as well, so I'll get them glued up and fitted in, and we'll go from there. Okay, I know it looks a little bit precarious, but I've glued these brick sections in. Bringing the camera around, if you can see. So now I can cut that at an angle to form that up to the end wall to match in this one here. I know it seems a bit excessive going up that high, but they were just all odd bits that I had, so I've used them all up. So I'm going to leave that to dry, and then I'll cut it down, and then I'll show you what it looks like after I've cut it down. Right, as you can see, I've cut that piece back down to the right angle. Now that will take a soldier course. Take a soldier course like that to finish it off. There should be a small bit coming down the front. You can just see in the background that I've stuck this piece on here. So I'll be using balsa wood for my actual roof structure, because this is nice and thin. It will give me the overhang, so I'll be gluing that on and then putting my tiles onto that, which the job should be a good one. So I'm going to go ahead now and glue this bit on, and the piece at the front here, and just put in the little bits and pieces, the little bits of brick, just to finish it off, and the same with that bit. And then I'll come back to you, because then I'll start putting the roof on, ready for tiling. Right, as you can see, I've finished this end bit off. Just waiting for that to dry before I can play about with that anymore. The middle bit I had to add a few bits in, but it's nothing too major. What I'm going to do now, I've got a couple of bits of I don't even know what thickness that is. It's not very thick, and I can't find my gauge anywhere. Yes it is, there it is, hiding. I'm a right mess at the moment, but there you go. That's 0.9. So it's 0.9 piece of balsa wood. Now I'm going to cut that and fit that into each section with about a 3 or 4 mil overhang. Not too much. This is only going to take the tiles, and this is going to allow me to glue the tiles onto here, and it'll actually give it a little bit more rigid than what I had before. So I'm going to get that cut and fitted, and then I'll come back to you again. Okay, I've cut all the balsa wood to fit along the top. I'll set it as a hanging over just by about 3.5 mil all the way along. Now I'm going to leave that to dry for a few hours, and while I'm waiting for that to dry, I'm going to clear my bench up because it looks like a bomb's hit it. So I shall be back with you shortly. Right, now roof tiles. Now this first course is going to go straight on. You notice I painted that black for the simple reason is when they start slating, they always have a starter course, so they would run one course all the way along, and then they would do a half bond on top of it all the way along, so that when they started putting the slates further back, it would be a half bond, so that it would be a watertight bond, so the water wouldn't just run straight through onto the roof. As I'm not doing that, as there's no need to do that, I painted this black because I'm just going to glue the first course of slates all the way along like that. So, sorry about the camera, just trying to focus there. So I'm going to glue that first course in right the way along, yeah, and then I'll come back to you because I've cut some battens and I'm going to put it on battens. I know I said I weren't, but simple reason is I thought I'd show you now, because if you just want to do a roof, at least you know how to put, you know, what your battens and how to set it up. Because if you want to do a, say like a little barn or something like that that's half destroyed, you at least want the battens and bits and pieces hanging down to make it look realistic. So I will carry on and get these all glued in, and then I'll come back and I'll explain to you how to set your battens up. Okay, right, I've put the first course in, which are all level to the edge of the balsa wood. Now to set your first batten up, put a slate on like that. Then use your pen, which I've already marked it up, but use a pen, mark it. I mean, you can even just leave your tiles in there if you want to, because it'll probably be the way I'll be doing it. And then just gluing your batten down. So just run a little bit of glue along the batten, stick it down, push it to the tile, to the slate, and do the same again. Tile, glue your batten down. So if you do it the width of a slate in between each of them battens, that will give you the right distance for your slates to go on. I'm going to do that. I'm going to glue these on, and then I'll come back to you and I'll go on with the next bit. Right, for those who think I'm cheating somewhere, I'll go through it with you. Tile, sorry, not tile, slate. Just remember that. I'll have the nuts and bolts blokes telling me off. Plenty of glue on your batten. And then just gently stick it down. And then on with the next one. As you can see, that's going to come up to the end there. And do exactly the same again. That's a bit of a thin one. But if you use your tile, your slate, sorry, as your guide each time, mind your tile grooves are done differently. So now you've got them all the way up, and we can start laying the slates on them. So I'm going to go off now, and I'm going to finish the whole lot, and I'll come back to you in a minute. Right, next stage. Glue, take that across the top of your batten, and another bit just along the bottom of the tiles, slates, sorry, like so, and then just start laying your slates, but make sure that you do a half bond, like that. Big fingers in the way. Half bond, and just lay them to that batten each time, and then just keep going along. Like so. And try not to be too perfect. Because if you try and be too perfect, they come out and they don't look right. It doesn't matter if one's a tiny bit lower, but that's what you do all the way along. And then next course, do exactly the same. What I'll do is I'll fill this course in, and I'll come back to you, and we'll go on the next. Right, that's the second course on, and as you notice, I've done the cuts. A little tip, so I've got a pile of broken ones here. I found the best way, if you want to cut, is to cut it in half, and then use your sanding stick with a pair of tweezers, and just take it down. It comes down really easy, so there's no problem at all. But they won't cut small bits. Like I had a small bit here. When you try and cut a small bit, it just shatters. But if you cut in half, it's okay. So cut in half and just use your sanding stick to reduce the size to the size that you want. Easy enough. Right, next course, and as you can see, it is very easy, very straightforward. So I shall carry on. I shall just do this little bit, then I shall retire you, because I don't think you really want to sit there watching me glue tiles on. There we go. So that's the start of my third course. I'm going to run all that the way through. Actually, I'm going to finish the whole lot. because you definitely know the basis, and I'll come back to you when I've finished it. Okay, I've finished most of it now. I thought I'd just give you a quick preview. Finished all the tiles, and I'm sat here and I'm looking at the screen, and I'm actually looking at this building. Now on the screen the roof is curved, it's got a curve to it, but there's no curve to it here, and also the pitch of the roof, it looks quite flat, but the pitch of the roof is it's got quite a high pitch on it, so I don't know if it's this camera. But anyway, I know it looks okay this end, so you'll have to trust me on that. That is something to do with the camera, because this bit looks okay, but you get to this bit and it's got sort of like, it's rounded, but when you actually look at it, it's not rounded. Anyway, I'm going on, I'm babbling on like an idiot. Alright, what have I done? Finished the I've forgotten what you call them now. These gable ends. I started a little bit of the flashing, as you can see. I haven't finished it yet. It needs a bit more work on it. There's another bit of flashing to go on here. I'm also going to run a piece of flashing all the way down the back there, just to finish off that back edge, because I don't like untidy edges. So I'm going to do a bit down the back there just to finish that off and make that nice, neat and tidy. And that's about it for the roof. Moving on to the rest of it. Still quite a lot to do. I've got all the guttering to make, downpipe to put in. I've got more flashing to go over the top of the shop fronts, because they had a lead flash in there to stop the water from getting down the back. And a lot of detail work, handles, letterboxes, little signboards and that, which I'll be making over the next over Christmas, as long as I'm left alone and not having to deal with family and all that lot that keep coming down, interrupting me. It's so inconsiderate of them. No, I'm only joking. So I'll be doing all these bits and pieces. I'm going to do a separate video on that, just showing you how I make my guttering and all these little bits and pieces, and I'll combine that into one little chunk, so you can have a little browse through that. And that's about it. Oh, and I've still got the weathering to do. And to be honest, to be fair, I have actually started. I did give this a very, very light wash today, because I wanted to get this part slightly darker than this part to give that impression of the old and the new. I don't know why I'm doing this old and the new, because it's going to be situated in 1930, so hey ho. But there again, they still built new buildings in 1930, didn't they? Well, yeah. It's just one of them things, and anyway, I'm enjoying doing it. So that's what I've got to do as well, is the weathering. It will come up a lot better than what it is, what you're seeing now. But I'd like to weather the whole lot together, i.e. get everything done, finished, painted, all the board put together, and weather everything all in one hit, and not sort of dilly-dally about with little bits here and little bits there, because it needs everything to be blended in together nicely. So that is it for this little update. I hope you found something interesting, something useful. Comment in the box below if you've got any comments. Give me a thumbs up if you like it. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and I will see you on the next one. So thank you very much for joining me.